If you are watching this, I sent you here because I say the same thing every time I teach someone how to left ride, and I've probably done this well over 100 times. So this is going to save me time because I'm getting old and decrepit. Okay. First thing is camera angle. But when you're riding a Rex, you want to look down or mostly down. Most people look a little bit out, kind of like this. So you'll look about like this on the leg. The reason you do that is so you can see how far in the Rex you are. If you're looking out, it's a lot harder to tell than if you're looking down. To steer, you only want to use W and mouse, at least when you're riding. Turn left, bogue. You never want to use keys because if you see when I use keys, it... Who the fuck are you? Out! Excuse me. I am preoccupied. I should heal them. Man. Rude. Okay.
Hang on, we'll go to the other side.
Where'd you go? I'm just gonna leave this all in because I'm a professional. Also, I can't be fucked to edit things. I'll just trim out the beginning. But
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So only steer with W and mouse. If you feel like you can't turn fast enough, you'll probably need to increase your DPI. For reference, I use 3.0 at 3000 DPI. If you don't know your DPI, it's probably a safe bet to just double it. Most people will start it at 1.0, and by the time I'm done helping them, they end up at 2.5 to 3.5-ish. I definitely wouldn't go any higher than like 3000 DPI at 3.0 cents. Let's see here. So the reason that we want to do some sprints like this is because we want to match our turn radius to the Rex. So we need to make sure that sprinting and turning are not just separate things like this. Instead, we want it to be one fluid motion. Go ahead and turn left, bug. So if you see, if I turn and then sprint, it's going to be very easy for him to either brake check me or drag me. Don't do it. But if I feather shift, which is where you tap shift and lift up your pinky pretty much as soon as you have hit it, you can match your turn radius to the Rex pretty seamlessly. And then twirl out. Why'd he say please? I don't know.
I think they wanted to fly.
Well, that sucks. What else do I want to say? Yes, angle. Aim for the right arm when you go forward. I notice a lot of people will try to aim into the Rex because they think that's how you're supposed to do it for some reason. That is not what you want to do. You want to think of it as kind of shoving your right shoulder into the Rex's left leg. And if you see, if I were to follow a line straight forward, I'm going to end up at his right arm. Another thing, you never want to turn right while riding a Rex. If you turn right even a little bit, it straightens your tail out. You watch how my tail straightens out. A straight tail is a tail that's easy to drag. If you don't know what a drag bite is, can you show please? It's where a Rex bites and then sprints while the bite is still active. And if your tail is straight, you are very likely to get dragged there. So you want to make sure your tail is curved at all times to avoid that. It is always better to turn to the left too far. Can easy walk left, please? So if I overturn, I can just kind of slow my turn down and he'll catch up to me. But if I turn right, then my tail straightens out and he can drag me really easily. So a lot of people, especially when they first turn their sensitivity up, they feel like they're overturning to the left, so they'll try to correct it by turning right, and then they just get dragged. A good Rex will notice kind of if you have a pattern when you turn right as well, so just don't do it. Trust me. Oh, let's see here. I should probably cover sprinting a little bit more in depth. I mentioned this a minute ago, but when you sprint, You want to do tiny little taps. You don't want to do anything like this. I never want to take more than like half a step of sprint unless the Rex drags. So go ahead and just do a drag if you may. So when he is not doing a drag, I'm keeping that same feather shifting. As soon as he does it, I'll take maybe like a full step of sprint, but never any longer than that unless he does a particularly long drag, which most good Rexes are not going to do more than like a step, maybe a step and a half of sprint when they drag. That's pretty much the basics, but then you have to get into avoiding break checks and avoiding drags. Break checks are a little bit more simple. It's really just controlling your sprints and turns and reacting in time. So there's two ways you're going to die to a break check. It's by either over sprinting, which is where you're going to end up about here. And this is harder to avoid if you over sprint because you're going to be so far forward. Even if you try to turn out of it, you might drag your head through the hitbox. There's also overturning, where maybe you're not as far in, but if you end up like right here, you could still be in the danger zone. So to avoid a break check, at least if you're, I don't know, I wouldn't suggest doing this when you're first learning, but you can pivot. Pivoting is helpful. It's very helpful, but it's a really hard habit to break. I used to twirl a lot, which is where, can you turn left, please? Where you like run out like this every time they break check. And so I had to break that habit, and to break that habit, I resorted to pivoting, but then I had to break my pivot habit. Can you break check, please? So I would just kind of instinctively do that. And it actually, okay, you can stop, thank you.
Hey.
What is he? Shoo.
He's watching.
Go away. I'm gonna post you on my 9-subscriber YouTube channel. What was I talking about? Pivoting. Just don't do it when you're first learning. It's great to use once you know how to ride, but not great when you're learning because you need to learn the hitboxes, and hitboxes is only something you're going to learn by dying multiple times. But let's see here. If you do have to pivot, you never want to do it too far. I notice a lot of people will turn to like this angle when they first start pivoting. And when you do that, you actually have to turn right to get back into the Rex. Can you see walk, please? So you have to do this. And if you do that, obviously turning right straightens your tail out and makes you very draggable. Shoo. It makes you very draggable. Yeah. I'm too easily distracted for this shit. What?
I was gonna say, do you want me to drag in? Is that the
No. No, you're
just,
good. Let me just
forget the Rex.
forget the shadow. Mandu.
There's always one in the circle.
There is. Come any closer, I'm slaying you. Okay. Instead, when you pivot, you want to end up about like right here. Maybe even not that far. You just want to make sure that your head is under the rib cage. You asshole. Haha. You kicking him? Danke. If I'm feeling particularly motivated, I'll make this again, but I am not feeling particularly motivated. Alright. That's about it for avoiding break checks. Really, it's just going to come with practice. That's kind of the one thing that you can't really learn to avoid, or there's really no special trick for it. You kind of just have to learn to read the Rex and anticipate when they're going to break check. It was what I struggled with the most when riding, obviously, because I had to pivot all the time before. Avoiding drags, though, it's a lot more complex, and there are some tricks for that. And again, I showed you a drag bite is when the Rex will bite and then drag their bite. Pretty self-explanatory. What? Yeah, you want to?
I showed.
You show. Beautiful.
So good.
If your head falls like anywhere in this range of the leg, behind the leg, you're gonna get dragged, especially if your tail is straight. You never want the tip of your tail to be closer to the Rex's nose than your head is. Could easy walk left, please? So like if I'm riding like this, see that the tip of my tail is a little bit closer to him than my head is. That's a no-no. Instead, we want to do something like this. Again, we're shoving our right shoulder under the Rex. If you have higher ping, this is going to be harder to do. For example, Boggs, his best ping is usually at like 55. Most of the time he's sitting around 65. So he has to do a different ride. Or not a different ride, but he just has to make sure that his angle is pretty small. Can you easy walk left, please?
Yeah.
So he has to do something more like this. I imagine anyways. Where I can do this and I won't get dragged. And on other people's screen, we're gonna look like we're doing the same ride, just because his ping. But yeah, riding Rexes with anything over 50 ping is a challenge. So.
Yes, it is.
Fuck you. But let's see here. So to avoid drags, the #1 counter is turning. Again, that's just where we're keeping our tail curved. And if we straighten it out, like I said, you're gonna die. When you lift your mouse to adjust, this is a big thing. If you feel like you're straightening your tail out every time you have to lift your mouse, then what you can do is flick your mouse to the left every time you pick it up, and that'll give you just a little bit extra turn and time to adjust. Because that comes into play with overturning being okay. So you turn left, please. So I'm just gonna turn by like flicking my mouse a lot. And you'll see it's not the prettiest thing, but it's a lot better than doing this. Every time I straighten out, I'm lifting my mouse.
Oh, it's so tempting to punch you.
Don't you dare. I'm teaching. Let's see here. Let me just ride you real quick so we can do some drags so people can see. There are like 3 people that see this.
Oh no, this is where we're sending everybody to try.
Yeah, it's true.
Who's this?
Oh, this actually brings me to another point. Can you stop for a second? So when you're riding, hey,
I was trying to type hi
rise.
and I.
The ideal position you'd want to be in during a brake check is going to be something like this, where your head is at or a little bit in front of the right knee, or at least angled towards it. I'm a little too far in. Utahs that are actually this far into a Rex are easier to drag, usually. Okay, Chester. This is just a big no-no. This sets you up for a standing drag. And a standing drag is what a lot of people will die to when they're first learning. You want to just do a standing drag real quick? So a standing drag is where the Rex bites out of a brake check and then drags it. And if you don't react in time, or if you react the wrong way, you're going to get dragged. Stop for a second. So to avoid this, go ahead and try it on me. Your first move needs to be a turn. And to do that, instead of looking straight while you're in a brake check, you're going to angle your camera to the left a little bit so that when you press W, your first move is a turn. If you do this, it's going to be a hell of a lot harder to drag you. Let's see. But yeah, that's about it for writing. I mean, tips wise. Most of it.
Do you want
What?
to be shown how far in you can be on a break check and not get hit?
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. You can tell where you can bite anyways, based off of where your left foot is in comparison to their left foot. So if your left foot is behind them, you can bite at pretty much any angle you're facing. So I can bite straight on, or I could bite like facing in. And this is just to show like where you're safe while you're standing still. He could obviously like drag you if you're right here. Don't you dare. If your left foot is on top of their left foot, or maybe to the side a little bit, you should not bite while you're parallel with them. The Utah's hitbox extends by about a head length when they bite, which makes sense because it's the head that you're biting. So you don't want to bite right here. You can bite, however, if you're angled in like this, or maybe even like this. I think I can bite here, yeah. As you see, my left foot is even with his left foot, so I'm okay. Once it starts getting past that toe, the left toe on the left foot, you're in sketchy territory. Definitely wouldn't suggest biting unless you're like really angled to the right. But when you're really angled to the right, you're pretty draggable. So I would just focus on not dying from the drag instead of biting at that point. If your left foot is in front, then you should pivot, maybe S jump. S jumping, that's another thing. Another way to avoid brake checks. So if you go too far into the Rex when you're brake checked, maybe you're like right here, and if you were to pivot, you would drag your head through the Rex's hitbox. You can S jump instead. It's dangerous because when you do that, the Rex can turn around and get you in the air. You want to just Z turn left as I jump, please? Okay, and see how bad of a position I'm in when I land. And so you have to be able to run back into the Rex as soon as you land. I don't like that you're bleeding.
You did that. Yeah, fuck you. Oops.
If you can help it, I would say pivot first and then S jump. Let me do that again. So Z turn left as I jump again.
Oh, do that again.
You fucked it.
Forget that one happened. Try again.
Okay, go ahead. Okay, and see how... Oh, you walked more. Do it again. Stop walking when I land. There. That's better. If he actually stopped walking when I landed, it would have been... where did I end up? Kind of like this. It just gives you more of a chance to get back to the leg without getting dragged. Any movement that makes you turn right to get back onto the leg is something that you're risking getting dragged doing. So I would say also don't start jumping until you're comfortable with the Rex's hitbox. If you get brake checked and your head is to the right of their spine, you're usually okay unless your head is up by their head. Hey, up by their arm. But if I were to be under or a little bit to the left of the spine and too far forward, it's a little more dangerous. Thank you for the heal.
I thought you must be hungry. Where they start this thing from?
Oh, maybe. I don't remember, honestly.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks. Yeah. What else? Am I forgetting anything?
I think that's pretty much it. Just practice. Getting used to the turn.
Yeah, a lot of it is practice and messing around with sensitivity. If you don't know how to find your mouse sense, on the off chance that you don't, I clicked on the wrong thing. It's just escape settings, then mouse sensitivity right here. It helps.
Have you shown like just what Z turning without sprinting looks like?
That's a good idea.
And where you end up?
Oh yeah. See, this is why you're here. I can't remember things. Yeah. Oh wait, don't bite me. But So because the turn radius of the U-turn Rex are different, you're going to oscillate from really far back to really far forward as you Z-turn. And so this is both good and bad. If you end up too far forward, like out here, you can work your way back in by just Z-turning and not biting. If you were to bite when you're right here, this is a no-no. A lot of Rexes will try to push you out to the side by doing constant brake checks over and over. And so you just kind of have to hold your ground and Z-turn with them to get back in. Another thing you could do, you want to kind of do that, Boggs, just like Z-turn and brake check. Try to like push out. Okay, so see how each time kind of pushes me a little further away from him? You could try to fix that by pivoting and then S-jumping. Either once or twice. If you have enough time to do it twice, that's probably better. But that just gets you back on the leg. But most of the time what I'll do is just hold my ground. You want to Z-turn, you can bite if you want. But yeah, see how I got back on the leg pretty quickly there, just because he was Z-turning. Basically, if you're far forward to start with, you'll end up far back. If you're far back, you'll end up far forward. If you do end up out here, it's because you're not sprinting enough. You need to do more small little sprints. The more you sprint, the wider your turn radius is. And so if you're oscillating from far back to far forward, you're making your turn radius too small. You want it to be the same as the Rex's, so you can stay on the same place on the leg. But yeah, when you practice this, I would suggest practicing with biting, just because it is a little bit different, unless you're like first learning, but once you kind of figure out the movement and stuff, definitely practice with biting because it changes things, especially with brake checks and where you can get hit. But is there anything else, folks?
Exit.
Exit? Oh yeah, okay. Exits. So if you're on survival and you want to exit the Rex, just pivot out.
Mm-hmm.
Never do this. This is bad. This is very bad. And this is also bad because the Rex can just sprint after you and catch you in the air if they react fast enough. When you do this, there's no way the Rex can get you as long as you do it correctly. You want to just go left and I'll show. So you just need to make sure that you turn enough that you're not running into his mouth. Do it without biting. I'll show what not turning enough looks like. There, see how if you would have bit, I could have died.
Yeah.
So you want to do like a good 2.5 second turn. And then when you enter, you're going to run along the tail, along the right side of it, and then go under. I could show a juke too, just to like get entry on a Rex. That'd probably be a good thing.
Yeah. Sure.
Alright. Entry on a Rex is not very complicated. Your ambush is faster than they can turn when you run a circle around them. Just make sure that you don't expose your left side. They can snipe you when you're about here-ish, or really just showing your left side anywhere. So most of the time, if you can juke to the right, to their right, your left, I would suggest doing that. But again, because we run so fast, we can do either way. In a juke, you're just going to run straight at the Rex and then go around. You want to try to stop me, Bogue? Watch me die.
Alright.
I would.
Alright.
Yeah, come at me. There. So I juke to the right, so I'm going to chase the tip of his tail. And I run pretty damn fast. And I'm playing it really safe too, but once I reach his right leg, I'll just cut under. And then I'm good. Then I can exit like this. What else? Am I forgetting anything still?
Entry, exit.
Entry, exit, got entry, exit, riding. I hope that my voice was recording for this because I really don't want to do it again.
Would you have turned that off?
I have turned it off before. It's just on OBS.
Okay.
What else? I don't know. I guess if I think of anything, I'll type it somewhere. I'll like edit the description 3 days.
I suppose
once a
it's all
day.
geared towards left, right, isn't it? It's not like
Yeah,
You're
like
talking
there's
about
other
where
rides
you
you
can be
can
under the
do,
tail. No.
but this ride right here is probably the most reliable one, especially if you have high ping or just not low ping. A lot of people will middle ride, which is where your leg, or not your leg, your head is more in the right knee as you're going along. And instead of being to the left of the spine, you're under it. And there's also right riding, which you should really only use if you're double riding. And I'm not very good at right riding. At least not right riding Rexes. Acros. I like acros. Except for Boggs' acro. His acro's mean.
Yeah.
Eh,
You just tried to bite me twice.
I didn't. I don't know what you're talking about. That's blasphemy.
Okay. That's on video, so also.
I'll cut it out.
You said you don't want to edit.
Shit. You're right.
So,
Am I forgetting anything else?
I don't think so. Oh. Yeah. No, I don't think so. I think that's pretty much it.
Alright. Easy.
In a nutshell. It's a lot to take in, but practice really.
Let me just show riding one more time. Just to see what it looks like all put together. I've done it a couple times, but... If you kill me, I'm just cutting this out, by the way.
Hell yeah.
My hand hurts. Oh, hold on a second. So if you're in a situation like this, where the Rex thinks they can get you, you can turn your head to the right, and it'll make you harder to hit. But you also have to be aware that you're likely to get dragged when you do that, if you don't react in time or in the right way. Okay, you can move again. Little shit. I really don't feel like riding you all the way to death.
Oh, really?
I don't.
Uh-huh.
Mostly because my hand hurts. I just pop my wrist real quick. Ease. Okay, go ahead. Okay, right there, if you saw, I was ready for a standing drag, so I turned as soon as he moved. Right here, I'm gonna want to turn because I'm in a little bit of fire. I could probably bite here. Weirdo. I'm doing a really far left ride right now, actually. Let me switch it to further in. Feck. Some epic music over this. The YouTube free music. Okay, this is really far in, so yeah, he should try to standing drag me when I'm like that. What do I call this? A really unorganized guide to left riding?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Yes, you should.
Perfect. You know, at least I cared enough to kind of write a script. I should make a how to galley ride next.
No.
I will. I'm gonna make a galley army.
Don't you dare.
I will.
That doesn't need to be out there.
It does.
You already promised me you wouldn't teach that.
I did?
You did.
Oh,
yes.
Well, shit.
After that last video. So, I mean, you can do it, but you've got to take off. It's going to cost you 50 sodas.
No, fuck you.
Off your Jinx tally. Yeah.
My Jinx tally will
fair.
stay at 71 or higher.
That's fair.
Okay, this is
you
not
can
the
bite
good.
there.
No, fuck you. When the Rex tells you you can bite there, you cannot bite there. That's another tip.
Trust the Rex.
Do not trust the Rex. Ease.
GG's. No, nice.
Chi-chis. Let me eat your body. Ultimate disrespect. Okay, I think that about sums it up. Yum. Blood. Oh, there you are. Don't you do it! Okay, the end. If you have questions, you probably have me on Discord, because that's how I would have sent this to you. So, yeah, just ask. But watch this first before asking, because my old decrepit brain is tired. Bye-bye.